Hey friends, Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. Today we're test driving the 2016 Lexus ES 300h. Now for this year, Lexus gave this car a number of new styling updates and some new features, not to mention some nice new materials in here, so let's have a look. For 2016, the Lexus ES got a design makeover which well updates both the exterior and its interior. Also added were new safety features, multimedia and connectivity systems were updated, and it has new colors and finishes available inside and out. The most notable changes are up front, where the ES gets the latest version of the Lexus spindle grille design. The new one-piece grille is bolder but also more subtle with a nice satin chrome finish. The lower fascia also gets more angular fog lights as well. Standard now are LED headlights up front, and at the back the ES 300h gets more distinctive L-themed taillights. Also new on the exterior is a newly designed 17-inch alloy wheel which is unique to the hybrid. Inside, Lexus upgraded the cabin with some rich new finishes which range from piano black to a variety of woods. A new steering wheel design has satin chrome finishing, and on ours, we had the optional heated wood rim. Also optioned on our tester was the $3,000 ultra luxury package, which brings with it those genuine wood trims, but more importantly, you get heated and ventilated front leather seats, both with memory settings for their power adjustments. There's also a power tilt and telescoping steering wheel as part of that package, and the rear seat passengers get sunshades on the side and the rear glass, and they'll be comfortable back there with up to 40 inches of legroom. Those rear seats don't fold down on the hybrid model because the battery pack sits just behind it in the trunk. Cargo space though still remains reasonable at 12.1 cubic feet, and under the floor is a spare tire, which is notable because some hybrids use this space for their battery and you don't get a spare. When it comes to the improvements they made here in the interior, it never hurts when a car company just sort of upgrades you a little bit, right? They give you higher quality materials, a little bit of a new look. So if you're coming out of a current car into this one, even though they may be only a couple of years apart, you're going to get something for all the angst you're going through to actually buy another car and update yourself. And the nice thing is, I like these new finishes. The satin chrome really has a nice touch, both inside and out. It's something new, and it's just a touch of class. Also, this new controller down here on the console has extra buttons on it this year that allow you to hit the enter, not only by pushing down on the puck, but hitting either one of those side buttons. So it's just extra ways for you to use that menu system, which has already been one of the best in my opinion. This interior is an example which many other automakers could learn from, if not set as a benchmark. It's comfortable, well made, pleasing to the eye, and it smells good too. Thus, the ES earns 5 of 5 stars here. And when we look to scoring overall quality feel, which is looking at the fit and finish of the body panels in addition to the interior trappings, we were much impressed. No rattles and squeaks, no cheap plastics, nothing to pick at. 5 of 5 stars it is. Our ES was outfitted with the Mark Levinson audio and navigation system, which is pretty expensive at $2,650, but the sound quality is nothing short of amazing, and I always recommend this as a good spend. Using the infotainment and navigation system's myriad of applications and features is a breeze with the aforementioned console-mounted puck. It has intuitive clicks you feel, which makes using its menus easier while driving, and its learning curve is very short. For 2016, a new package called Lexus Safety System Plus is available as a standalone option at about $1,000. Comprehensive, it includes a pre-collision system with pedestrian detection, radar cruise control, and lane departure warning with steering assist. A lot of cars that we drive right now, they have lane departure warning, which essentially, when you veer out of your lane, it sends off an alarm and it lets you know it. And most brands let you turn that off if you get annoyed by features like that. I'm one of those people. I don't typically like to have lane departure warning on, especially if it's abrupt and scares the daylights out of you. But the Lexus here has a very interesting way of
handling this situation for you. First of all, you can turn it off, but you can also customize the way it actually alerts you, and it can actually put you back in your lane and nudge you back into it, which is a very cool thing. Now, that may scare some people, but it really works quite well. So right now, I'm going to deliberately veer into my right lane without using the turn signal. Now what I'm getting a vibration and a tug at the steering wheel here, and it just sort of vibrated the steering wheel, and it was just something very subtle I felt. Now, if I had not fought it, it would have actually steered me back into the lane. Now I'm going to use my turn signal and veer back into the left lane, and it doesn't happen. Now, believe it or not, I like this. It's not nearly as abrupt and scary as a loud alarm is. Now, you can have an alarm if you want it, but I kind of like this way of doing it.
All of this made scoring the ES300H technologies quite easy. With excellent sound from the audio, ease of use across the board, and a customizable suite of driver assistance features, it earns 5 of 5 stars. Driving the ES300H has its own character and feel, apart from the rear-wheel drive models Lexus offers such as the IS and the GS sedans. Rather than a performance-oriented place in the lineup, it has a front-wheel drive chassis that turns up the volume on comfort and quiet.
When it comes to ride and drive, I have to compare this to the Avalon Hybrid because this car deserves credit for being, well, it's a peaceful existence. And by that I mean, you really feel isolated from the real world out there. And while that may not make it a driver's car in the least, if you want a car that you can just sit in and relax and sort of insulate yourself from all of that, this is it. I mean, it's quiet in here, it has a very supple feel, and while the Avalon had a little bit of a rough edge to it when the pavement got rough, for some reason the suspension and chassis tuning on this seems to be such that I'm not getting that nearly as much. This car just absorbs, it's like a big sponge, man. It absorbs so much of the roughness that you come across out there, and I hate to keep comparing this to the Avalon, but I think a lot of people who might be looking at buying this car are probably also looking at that as an alternative, and given the fact that they're so close. So that's sort of my 2 cents on that one. But the bottom line is, this car is just a very luxurious, high quality feeling car to drive, whether you're on the highway, driving in your neighborhood. It really pulls it off well.
Even though the chassis isn't designed to win over this driving enthusiast's heart in the twisties, its poise was nonetheless impressive, and because it feels of solid quality that you pay for in a car like this, it earns 5 of 5 stars. Empowering the ES300H is a highly efficient 2.5-liter Atkinson cycle 4-cylinder engine and powerful electric motors. They can drive the front wheels in electric-only mode or combined with a gasoline engine through its constantly variable transmission.
When it comes to actually using this power, this engine and transmission actually seems to work very well. And I say that because just 2 weeks ago we test drove the Toyota Avalon Hybrid, which underneath the skin is the exact same car. It has the same engine, the same transmission, the same electric motors, but this for some reason comes across so much more refined and quiet. Now, that more than likely has to do with a lot of sound deadening, but it makes all the difference in the world because the Avalon Hybrid, well, I sort of complained on it a little bit for not being all that refined. And while the level of refinement in terms of how this is actually working is probably the same as the Toyota, because of all the sound deadening and some of the other things they've employed here, you just don't notice a lot of that going on. So when you actually put your foot in it and decide to use that power, well, it's actually just well behaved. Not bad at all.
The powertrain offers up a total of 200 horsepower when both the gas and the electric power sources are combined. The EPA rates the ES300H at 40 mpg city, 39 mpg highway, and 40 mpg combined. In our week, though, we only achieved 36 mpg combined. Not sure why the mpg was lower, as we've achieved the promised ratings and better in past tests with this car. Nonetheless, in scoring the powertrain, efficiency played a role, with it earning 4 of 5 stars in this category. When it comes to safety, the ES is a major winner though. The IIHS gives it their highest honor. Top Safety Pick Plus. This is because it gets good ratings in their entire battery of crash testing, but also offers an advanced crash prevention system as an option.
Well, summing it up for the ES300H Hybrid, let's have a look at the specs. Now, as you can see right there, the price on this one, $50K. Now, that does represent about $10,000 worth of options, so it doesn't need to be this spendy, but I think even with $10,000 of options, at $50,000, this is a lot of car, to be quite honest. And I say that because, as we talked about, we test drove that Avalon Hybrid Limited, which is essentially the same car underneath in a lot of ways. That car was $45,000. So when I look at this car and all the big steps up that this has in terms of refinement, style, materials, quality, the whole shebang, I think that this car for $5,000 more is a bargain by comparison. So in that way, I really think that we're talking about a 5-star value here. So when you put that in context to the rest of the things we already talked about, we're at 4.5 stars for the week. I'm Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. I hope you enjoyed the ride. A little personal story. My first experience with a Lexus was back in the late 80s, maybe the early 90s, right when they first arrived in North America, when the brand first launched. Me and my college buddy, we went to the Lexus dealer to check one of these things out, and we sat in an LS, which was their full-size luxury sedan, which at the time, and just like today, they were marketing against the BMW 7 Series, the Mercedes S-Class, and of course it cost quite a bit less. And so we were in the dealership, two 18, 19-year-old guys, and the salesman approached us and treated us like real customers, and that was the first time that had ever happened in any dealership ever. He actually took the time to give us a full walk around. He sat us in the car in the showroom and demonstrated all the features. And not only were we impressed with the car because it was a very high quality car, real wood, leather, lots of soft touch trims, which at that time very few cars had. But we were most impressed by the fact that this salesperson in a three-piece suit actually treated two college kids like real human beings, like real customers that were actually possibly going to buy a car that day. Now, he didn't ask us if we were going to buy a car that day. When he was done with his presentation, you know, we sort of gave him the signals that we weren't buying a car, which were something like, well, we got to go. And he said, hold on just a second. We thought, oh, great, here comes the turn. He's going to go bring the boss out. But no, the guy brings back two brochures with his card stuck to each one, and he thanked us very much for coming. And so that's just always stuck with me, because when Lexus first started their brand, that was something that really set them apart in addition to their cars. And today, that experience is still the same in their showrooms. They don't treat you like a walking checkbook, at least not in all the instances that I've been there. So there's that. Now, if you like the test drive you just saw, click on the link right there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We test drive one, sometimes two cars every single week. Plus, we have a new video almost every day. There's always something new. So stay tuned.